Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've got a rather large haul for this week. Apparently, as Marvel had some issues with getting stuff delivered to my local comic book shop the past couple of weeks. This was kind of a bit of a catch-up week. So, this was in some ways a catch-up week, but also back on track. So, yeah. We've got a few books that were supposed to be from a few weeks ago. So, which in fact we'll get started with one right off the bat. That is Bishop War College number 4. Where we left off in Bishop War College number 3, Bishop from Earth 616. Well, the bishop that currently resides on Earth 616, because I think technically speaking, the future timeline he's from, but branches off from Earth 616, I think it is still considered to be a separate Earth. Not certain on that one, but yeah. Anyway, so he was on Earth 63. And, well, he and as well as Earth 63's Lucas Bishop were looking for Heather Tucker. Though apparently Heather Tucker, Tempo, on Earth 63 is not a mutant. She and her father are scientists. On Earth 616, his current crop of War College students were trying to prevent Fenris from infecting Krakoa with Blightswill and opening the pit on behalf of Orcus. Because, well, of course, fascists are going to want to work with fascists. So, yeah. So, we begin on Krakoa. Magic gets feeling something's wrong. And so, she grabs Mirage and heads over to basically investigate, well, what's wrong. We have a Cerebro Files entry, opening remarks by Dr. Heather Tucker at the U.S. House Oversight Committee for U.S. House Oversight Committee testimony, explaining the work that the Tucker Clinic does, and also indicating that she and the clinic have come into a small amount, or in a position of a small amount of Blightswill, which they're keeping, which they're using strictly research purposes only. The last issue did end. The third issue did end with the Human Liberation Front attacking the Tucker Clinic. Bishop leaps into battle. Human Liberation Front consisting of Fei Long, Simon Trask, Tony Stark, and Moira McTaggart. But Bishop tries to get his Earth 63 variant to help out, and Bishop uses his powers offensively for the first time, somewhat offensively for the first time. The X-Men arrive. Angel, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Beast, Nightcrawler, and Wolverine. They attack the Human Liberation Front, and turns out that the armor Moira is wearing has a bomb built into it, and it detonates. We have a text chain from Orcus Internal Messaging Service between Dr. Debo, Moira, and Fei Long. They're not happy. Fei Long and Devo aren't happy with utilizing the Fenris twins. the majority of Bishop students have found the Fenris twins' drilling operation, as well as Cam and Amass being held prisoner by Fenris's Orcus goons. The students attack Fenris. They also managed to remove the Blightswell inhibitor bracelets from the Fenris twins, which nullifies the effects of Blightswell. Surge uses one, resulting in her having her powers back. The other one ends up with armor. But yeah, the students duke it out with the Fenris, though Fenris does manage to breach the pit. Back on 63, Moira's bomb exploded, and Bishop realizes something's wrong, though. He should be dead. But time has apparently stopped. Dr. Tucker is, in fact, the 0616 version of Heather, wanting to have more time with her father, as the 0616 version of Heather's father passed away, and wanting to save him, but she can't. Well, energy shockwave occurs, and that's where issue 4 ends. Now, because of the aforementioned shipping issues, not only do we get issue 4 of Bishop War College this week, but also issue 5, including issue. So, yeah. Bishop manages to talk Tempo down. The explosion abates, and it suggests the 63 Bishop is it suggested to him, perhaps he should learn to use his powers and defend Paradise. We see the fallout of the explosion. It appears that Cyclops and Angel are both dead, though Jean, Beast, presumably Nightcrawler and Wolverine are still alive. Bishop's students do what they can against Fenris when Bishop and Tempo return. And they knock the Fenris twins into the pit. It's apparently Krakoan by the name of Brother Nature will be able to heal Krakoa the Blightswell contamination. The Fenris twins are in the pit, which means that the pit's currently only inhabitant now has company, Mr. Sinister. And, well, Sinister would like a better caliber of company than, well, the Nazi twins. Upon returning to the surface, Bishop informs the students that that tomorrow he's going to give them their grades. Fei Long and Moira discuss what happened, but now they did gain some information, though, which the information is also passed on to Dr. Devo. First off, the alterations made to the Blightswell were successful if the readings they were able to recover are accurate. While they did deplete the supply, more can be easily obtained from Ruben Brousseau. They may not need it immediately, but as their plans develop, there will definitely be uses down the line. They also have a clear map of the innards of Krakoa, its boundaries and limits, and most importantly, its weaknesses. Which is apparently a key part of their next phase. Dealing with the physical nature of Krakoa itself will allow them to strike a blow at the whole of the mutant and break their will. Also, the readings indicated that Sabretooth and the others had somehow been freed from the pit. So if they're out in the world somewhere, that helps Orcus. Being able to raise the specter of vicious, murdering mutants on the loose somewhere could be incredibly useful to Orcus going forward. The students celebrate, but Bishop and Tempo are dealing with their experiences on Earth 63. And back on Earth 63, Earth 63's variant of magic is training Lucas Bishop on Krakoa. The next morning on Earth 606, Bishop tells the students they all passed with flying colors, and we get a full breakdown of their grades. Surge got an A, Armor got an A+, Cam got a B, Ara got an A+, Amass got a B+, and Wrong Slide got an A+. Some other points of note are that Armor has more than earned a spot on the X-Men, and Bishop's going to do what he can to make sure that she does end up on the team, the next lineup. Surge is probably the most improved student. Any questions about her leadership, temperament, and attitude have been thoroughly answered. She's shown great intelligence, passion, and focus in her training, and one of the strongest candidates for the X-Men that Krakoa has. Cam Long said they've come a long way, but still have a way to go. Temper and impulsiveness can be a strong detriment in the field, but they're also brave and passionate. With more discipline, Cam Long has a lot more to offer. Ara Charles, bright spot in the group, smart, compassionate, and courageous, true leadership quality. She should be encouraged and supported in every way, given every opportunity to develop her skills and abilities, and that they'll all be working for her soon. Amass is a sponge, soaking up knowledge, ideas, information, and tactics. Probably the most pliable and willing student he's had so far. While his powers can be a strength, they can also be a liability. He just needs more seasoning before he's ready for battle. Wrong Slide is still trying to find his place and identity in this life. Bishop wasn't sure about including him in this round of his exercises, but he did extremely well, and Bishop was impressed. They should involve Wrong Slide more. Then the issue ends with Bishop beginning the training of his next batch of students, but rather than having them fight each other, well, he's going to have them fight him. And that is where the series ends. This was a good series. The multiversal angle of it was interesting, to say the least. As I've stated numerous times, I'm a big fan of the multiverse stories, even if it's just a plot point in a larger story. It's not overall a multiverse story. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Immortal X-Men number 12. This issue focuses on Colossus. So where we left off with Colossus is under the control of the Chronicler, a reality warping mutant from Russia, who is under the control of Colossus' brother, Mikhail. And because of Mikhail who was also a mutant, aligned with Xeno for a while, though that fell apart. He was also involved in the the temporal attack on Krakoa. But he is of course trying to undermine Krakoa and well, by having basically controlling his brother's actions. Well, a lot easier to do that, especially with Colossus being on the Quiet Council. So a vote is called with the 4 members of the Quiet Council who are compromised, sent away. The vote being to fill Sinister's currently empty seat. Shaw has wants Selene for the former Black Queen on the seat. However, Destiny has a vision. Apparently, Shaw is working for Orcus. Rasputin finds out this isn't true. And Destiny's surprised. She's never, she was wrong. But turns out that Colossus is Storm's proxy, with Nightcrawler currently indisposed because of the issues he's been having of late and his recent absence from Krakoa. Kurt has asked for Storm to be his proxy, so therefore Colossus has 3 votes. The four psychics find out, or Hope is able to find out what's going on inside the council chamber. And rushes in, but Rasputin tries to stop her, leading to a fight. Charles and Emma argue over interfering, despite the agreement they've made. And the vote is postponed by Exodus reaching out to Storm, have her show up. Though Colossus is aware that he's being controlled, and he is trying to he's trying to cry out, to say, my actions are not my own. There's a story, I believe there's a story title. I have to scream but have no mouth. And later, Destiny and Mystique are talking. Destiny explains that she's still reacclimating to changes after the Sinister timeline. And she has a vision of Raven killing her. But Raven plays a message for her from Sinister, the message that Destiny left for Sinister, which she presumably got via Mother Righteous. The two embrace, and Mother Righteous briefly takes control of Mystique, who runs Destiny through. But Shaw says, well, since Hope was involved in Destiny's resurrection, then Destiny will be sidelined from votes as well. Another matter that's come up is the suggestion of letting the world know the Sinister timeline. But those involved, those who have lost their voting privileges on the council, leave. Storm and Colossus discuss things, but still, no, it doesn't. No one seems to understand what's going on with Peter, and that is where the issue ends. As always, Immortal X-Men is great. I mean, it's regularly one of the best X-Men books every month. Moving on, though, to our next book, we have the one-shot X-Men Before the Fall, Mutant First Strike. This is part of the lead-up to Fall of X. A small town in New Hampshire is seemingly attacked by a mutant. Blown up, in fact. News stations that aren't entirely keen on making sure they have all the facts before reporting run with it. Bishop appears before the council and says, "Hey, look, we should do something to help these people." X-Corp shows up in the form of Bishop, Triage, Jean Grey, Penance, Angel, Tempo, Storm, Cyclops, and Iceman. They do what they can to help everyone. All this is being watched by Judas Traveler from the Bloom, an Orca satellite in Earth orbit. Tempo finds the remains of the mutant that blew up. Starts to do some CSI work on it. However, at the edge of town, the Watchdogs have shown up. Cyclops is dealing with them. Those involved in the investigation of the mutant responsible notice something odd with his X gene. It appears to be a patchwork X gene, as if it was created in a lab rather than created naturally. The X-Men continue to help run the town. Turns out that the Proud Star is part of the group, and well, Proud Star. Let's see, we'll go with Thunderbird. Yeah, the Thunderbird is part of the group, and a group he dealt with, the Heritage Initiative, is seemingly behind the creation of this the mutant that exploded. The X-Men do what they can to deal with the Watchdogs, with Jean Grey levitating them and getting into their heads and realizing that they weren't responsible for what happened. But they're not in on it. Additional support is brought in. Wicked doing grief counseling. Somnus helping people sleep while they wait for for triage, while Thumbelina is doing microsurgery on various injured parties. The X-Men are helping people, do what they can to help. Crave is taking care of biohazard material. He doesn't know what biohazard means, but he considers it delicious and neutralized. Icarus is doing what he can to help keep spirits up. Soft Serve is making ice cream for everyone. Grey Crow is making a seafood boil. Madrox and his dupes are helping with serving food. Within a day, the town is largely rebuilt as much as possible. The locals aren't too fond of making it clear they don't like the Watchdogs, but it turns out that when the truth of what's known gets out, no one cares. Doesn't change any minds. The Heritage Initiative denies the allegations. The mayor of Milford is aggressively interviewed by a reporter on FCN. All the while, Judas Traveler watches. Yeah, the goal wasn't the destruction of the town. It was a PR attack. Janice Shin, the Fact Channel News reporter, is sent a message from Judas Traveler. Edwin Martinick is sent a message as well by Traveler. Basically explaining that the Heritage Initiative will soon be no more, but Edwin will be finding employment with Orcus if he so desires. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting book. I mean, I'm not surprised that to see an X-Men book dealing with, to see Orcus utilizing propaganda and utilizing propaganda just as readily as they would utilize a Sentinel. And it is saddening, the idea that when you tell people the truth, sometimes when people are told the truth about a thing they don't understand or even know much about, sometimes they just don't care. They like what they've been told works for them, and well, no matter what you tell them, they don't care. They don't listen. Doesn't change their minds at all. Moving on though to our next book, we've got X-Men number 23. The X-Men are back on Earth after dealing with the Brood. I think there's still tense between Jean and Scott. But we open with apparently every night Dr. Stasis has dinner with his family, clones thereof. This time, however, Mother Righteous shows up. We know that apparently Mother Righteous is a clone of Sinister's wife, or Nathaniel Essex's wife. And she explains she's planning a hostile takeover of Orcus. In New York, Brooklyn to be exact, firefighters are dealing with a three-alarm blaze on Briggs Avenue. Roof of the building started to cave in though when a giant metal fist slams through the wall, A Star Sentinel is on site, helping the firemen. But it detects a mutant, one of the firefighters. The X-Men show up, do what they can to deal with it. However, most of what they're doing isn't having much of an effect, because they're attacking like a Sentinel. They're not thinking of it as a giant Iron Man, but rather just a Sentinel painted red and gold. And most of their countermeasures aren't doing the trick. Sync gets smashed by the Sentinel, but Talon is able to get close enough to him so he can absorb her powers. A bit of blood is drawn from Magic during the fight, but Magic destroys the Sentinel, basically smashing into pieces with step discs. The X-Men get what they can from the head, and Orcus also has been gathering information. The sense that it was a success, and the spin is that the X-Men attacked the Sentinel, when in fact the Sentinel showed up with the intention of drawing out the X-Men. On Krakoa, Emma Frost is speaking with a new arrival, the husband of a citizen of Krakoa by marriage, Wilson Fisk. And basically, saying, yeah, okay, everything about Krakoan citizenship applies to you, but basically he starts trying to be king pin a crown again. Well, then nope, done. Scott comes to see Emma, wearing what appears to be, board shorts and an open Hawaiian shirt. After all, him and Jean are on the rocks, and so, yeah. But Emma has some bad news to bear. A friend of his from his past, sort of, the time travel element of the all-new X-Men is weird, has died. Kamala Khan. That is where the issue ends. I'm honestly glad that they addressed Kamala's death. During the all-new X-Men era, when the original 5 X-Men were brought to the present as the teenage all-new original X-Men were brought to the present as teenagers, Cyclops joined the Champions, and he became friends with Kamala, and in fact extended Krakoan citizenship during the Outlawed event to the Champions. So yeah, I'm glad that while I wish it would have been, more than just half a page of it, I'm at least glad it was addressed, and not just a footnote of, after learning about Miss Marvel's death the other day, see blah blah blah. But yeah, so I'm glad it wasn't something like that. Moving on though to our last book for the moment, we've got New Mutants Lethal Legion number 3. Where we left off, Escapade and Scout were having to fight their way through Count Nefarious mansion, and Mirage, Karma, and I don't know Karma's girlfriend's name. Galura have shown up looking for Scout, Escapade, and Cerebellum. Cerebellum. Of course, promptly they find Scout as Count Nefarious blast her out the window. Cerebella's found something while Escapade's fighting Skullbuster, and it's a kind of a big deal. Mirage is, well, kind of Nefaria threatens Mirage, and she kind of just, she's got to take a phone call. Nefaria makes his distaste of mutants very clear. Activates death traps within the mansion. Wolfsbane and Morgan make their way to Nefaria's mansion, though Nefaria has decided on a new Lethal Legion lineup. The various X-Men escape, and upon seeing when Nefaria discovers what they took, he does call someone whom he had previously turned down because too high of a price. Turns out that the box that the X-Men took had one of the weapons from Uranos' arsenal, or Uranos' armory, the Weird Engine. There's a write-up of what it does. It's one of the least destructive weapons from the war. Was created capable of quantum entangling every particle in this universe with an identical particle located in another, more chaotic universe. The Weird Engine destabilizes the fabric of matter itself, causing unpredictable and uncontrollable mutability. It's unknown how Uranos obtained it, but all must remain grateful he was never able to unleash it. Escapade is noting that basically her two favorite people, Morgan, her best friend, and Cerebella, who she has developed feelings for, are ignoring her. Cerebella finds a flyer for a future expo, and maybe they should go there to figure out what to do with the Weird Engine. But Nefaria and the Lethal Legion stop them on the way, with Moonstone being the final addition to the team. That is where the issue ends. I've been digging this miniseries. It's been fun. There's actually a really good point in the issue where Wolfsbane talks with Morgan about the Mutant Massacre. Very broad strokes, basically, and how she envies the fact that he didn't have to actually live through it. He just ends up knowing about it after the fact, and that she hopes he never does have to live through something like that. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.